Hello friends, this is not Otstarva, and welcome back to the second part of the video you may or may not have seen, where I'm discussing all the changes I would do to make this game a chaotic game, where every perk is weird and kind of unbalanced. I did the survivor perks in my last video that you may or may have not seen. Now I'm moving on to the killer perks, and again I'm pretty interested on what I wrote down about 2 or 3 months ago. I recorded the first part yesterday, right before I went and slept in that little bed, and I basically just woke up, and I have slept for maybe 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours. I'm extremely sleep deprived, super tired, just like I was yesterday when making that video. So I thought, why not keep to the tradition? We are again listening to Hearts of Iron 4 music in the background. I am going to be looping Katyusha by the Paradox team, or Paradox Orchestra, whichever one they use. And I will maybe be switching to listening to Bella Ciao later in the video. Okay. When I did this script to these, well, it's not a script, it was just notes on every perk. When I did this, I was mainly playing killer. So this might be more interesting than the survivor one, because I rarely played survivor, and now I rarely play killer, and I mostly play survivor. And just like the last time, this was before Skull Merchant's chapter released, so I haven't written anything down to change Skull Merchant perks. I don't know if I'll stay like that or if I'll come up with something to change it to. But regardless, I'm going to see how I was thinking when writing these notes down, and if I possibly can come up with better changes than I did when I wrote this down. So again, unedited, unscripted. The small script part I have is, like I said, just me writing down notes like 2 or 3 months ago on every perk. We'll see if I agree or not again. Unedited, basically unscripted, and just weird and chaotic. The point of these videos is just to encourage people to and especially Dead by Daylight and the Dead by Daylight devs, to do some wacky and weird creative stuff with the underused and pretty useless perks, instead of seeing the same 5 perks being used every single game. There is a way to balance your game without just consistently and constantly nerfing the good stuff. What you can also do is make some crazy stuff with the underused stuff, and that is basically the starting point of my changes to the perks. Is just supposed to be weird and wacky. So join me today while I am sitting here with my beautiful Demogorgon, whomst I and everyone else in this game loves. I have some coffee with me, even though coffee doesn't make me it doesn't give me energy. I still have it because super cool aesthetic, you know. Okay. Might see me drink some times during the video, and I might even pour up some more coffee if there is any weird breaks. A lot of people might be sitting watching this video in the background, maybe taking a nap, which would be pretty based. I've done that with videos like this before, like Otstarva videos. I've been taking naps while doing it sometimes. Sometimes just having them around in the background while doing something else, not 100% focusing. So if there are any weird silences, it might be because of that. I'll try to talk while doing this stuff, though. I can't do that when drinking, though. That would be pretty cool. Okay, I'm going on rants because I never know when to stop. But I will stop now. Okay, we're starting off the first 3 perks. Okay, a nurse's calling makes you see auras of survivors nearby healing. Agitation increases your movement speed while transporting bodies, and your terror radius is increased when transporting bodies. And then Awawa, awaken awareness. When carrying a survivor, you can see the aura of other survivors within 20 meters of your position. These all 3 I left unchanged, so I thought and think, I guess, that these are pretty okay. Nothing really interesting I could come up with changes, and all around pretty fine perks. Bamboozle, I would change the vaulting speed to 30% instead of vaulting 15% faster, and make it not stack with superior anatomy. One thing I want to mention as well is that a few of these perks have been changed since I did the script. Call of Brine, Overcharge, Pain Resonance and stuff have been changed. So, I don't know, we'll see what I wrote down with those perks. Then we have a Barbecue. Instead of revealing all survivors' auras within 40 meters from the hook, or beyond further meters from the hook, I would change that to 30 meters, so you can see more survivors. Then we have Beast of Prey, a complete useless perk. And I would make that activate when chasing someone for 15 seconds and make it never disappear until out of chase. So how this works is that when you get Bloodlust tier 1, you get undetected, and you get 50 more blood points in the hunter category or whatever. You get undetected after getting Bloodlust tier 1, and this status effect is removed once you lose Bloodlust. And instead, how I will make it work is that you would gain it when you have been in chase for 15 seconds, and make it not get removed when you lose Bloodlust, and instead just have it for the rest of the chase, basically. Then we have a Bitter Murmur. See survivors' auras when a generator is completed. I would increase the revelation of the aura from 5 seconds. Wait. Oh yeah, I would make it so that the survivors' auras get revealed for 10 seconds instead of just 5 seconds on the not last generator. Then we have Blood Echo. When hooking a survivor, all other injured survivors suffer from the hemorrhage and exhaustion status effect for 45 seconds. I would make this apply to all other survivors instead of just the ones that are injured. So people who aren't injured and then get injured within the 45 seconds get hemorrhage and exhaustion as well. I am going to be rushing through these a little bit more than the last video because I noticed how long the last video was. So I'm gonna try to speed up a little bit more. Blood Warden I would leave unchanged. Once per match, hooking a survivor while Blood Warden is active, because one density to block both exits for all survivors for 6 seconds. I will leave that unchanged. Bloodhound, fresh blood marks are considerably more discernible than normal and can be tracked for 4 seconds longer than normal. Completely useless perk. I would make pain noises louder by 50% is the change I would have, so you can hear. I would probably make them 100% louder. So the range you hear survivor noises would be increased by 100%. Instead of just the blood marks being closer. Yeah. And then we have Brutal Strength. You destroy things 20% faster. I would increase it to 25% from 20%. Call of Brine, I wrote that I would decrease the amount of percentage that you regress to 175%, because this was 200% earlier, but now it's 125, and I think 125 is pretty good. So I would leave this unchanged as it is now. Claustrophobia. Every time a generator is completed, all windows and vault location within a 32 meter radius of the completed generators are blocked. I would change that so that every single window and vault location within the 32 meter radius of a survivor who isn't in chase gets blocked, instead of it just being near the completed generator. Every single survivor that is out of chase gets the things blocked. Corrupt Intervention, I would leave unchanged. Coulrophobia, I would leave unchanged. Both pretty fine, okay perks that I don't care about changing too much. We have Coup de Grâce, which increases the distance of your next lunge attack by 80%, and I would change that to 100% instead. And then we have Dark Devotion. When the obsession loses a health state, your terror radius is transfers to the obsession for 30 seconds and its radius is set to 32 meters. You are granted the undetectable status effect, and the survivor with a transfer terror radius is also considered to be inside the terror radius for other purposes. I would change this one so that it is decreased to 20 seconds instead of 30 seconds, but it applies to every single survivor, basically. Wait, what do I mean with that? Decreases 20 seconds but apply to every survivor. I don't know if I mean that. I think I mean that when someone gets injured, your terror radius gets transferred, or possibly I meant that every single survivor gets a terror radius of their own. That's probably what I meant. So instead of your terror radius transferring to the obsession, when you injure a survivor, every single survivor gets their own terror radius, 32-meter terror radius, just to create more chaos, basically. They have Darkness Revealed. When you search a locker, the auras of all survivors within 8 meters of any lockers are revealed to you for 5 seconds. I would increase the aura reading from 5 seconds to 10 seconds, just again to create more chaos. Dead Man Switch. When you hook a survivor, Dead Man Switch activates for the next 30 seconds. While activated, any survivor that stops repairing a generator before it's fully repaired causes the entity to block the generator. I would change it so that it regresses every generator when activated, but at 50% slower speed until the effect is over. Then we have Deadlock with the same thing. It will regress the generator when activated, but at 50% slower speed. I would probably do at 25% slower speed. Yeah, on Deadlock, so that the generators regress that are affected by this perk. Then we have Deathbound. When a survivor heals another survivor for 1 health state at least 32 meters away from the killer, the survivor performing the healing action will scream, revealing their location and activating Deathbound for the next 60 seconds. During that time, the survivor will suffer from the Oblivious status effect when you are further than 8 meters away from the healed survivor. I didn't even know this perk existed. Actually, remove distance effect on both things. Which means that it will activate no matter how close the survivor heals, and that the survivor will always be oblivious no matter how close you are to the survivor. Is basically the changes that I will do to this. Deerstalker reveals dying survivors' auras when standing within a 36-meter range. I would change it so that it reveals survivors within 4 meters of... reveal survivors' auras as well, that is within 4 meters of downed survivors. So if another survivor enters the area of 4 meters of a downed survivor anywhere on the map, their aura gets revealed as long as they stay within the distance of the downed survivor. Discordance, I would make it unlimited range instead of 128 meters. It's just a weird range. 128 meters is almost all of the map. So I don't know why it has a range. I would just make the range unlimited. Then we have Dissolution. 3 seconds after injuring a survivor by enemies, Dissolution activates for 20 seconds. And instead I will make this an infinite duration as long as you are in chase. So it activates when you injure a survivor by any means. And then for 20 seconds the effect persists, but instead, as long as you're in chase, the effect persists. Then we have Distressing. Your terror is increased by 26%. I would increase this to 32%, so it's a lot bigger. just because why not? Then we have Dragon's Grip. It has an 80-second cooldown after damaging a generator for the next 30 seconds. The first survivor that interact with it will scream, getting their aura red for 4 seconds and get exposed with 60 seconds. I would change the cooldown from 80 seconds to 60 seconds, and I would give aura reading to the survivor for 5 seconds instead of like, I don't know if you get aura reading. It says you reveal the location for 4 seconds, which I guess is probably aura, and I would change that to 5 seconds instead. Then we have Dying Light. Your obsession gains a 33% action speed bonus to unhooking and healing other survivors. Each time you hook a survivor other than the obsession, if the obsession is still alive, gain a token. If the obsession is alive, all survivors who are not the obsession get 3% penalty to repair, healing, and sabotage speeds for each token. And I would remove the sound effect of, remove the second effect of if the survivor is alive. So if the obsession is dead, you still have the penalty to reparation and healing and stuff. Yep, okay. Enduring, 50% power stun reduction. I would leave this one unchanged, and then Eruption I left unchanged currently before its rework, and right now I would leave it unchanged as well. I think it's pretty okay in this state. Like, in my opinion, it's pretty okay as it is right now. Okay, we have Fearmonger. I would leave that unchanged as well. Pretty okay as it is. Fire Up. Each time the survivor completes it, repairs a generator. Fire Up grows in power. For each generator completed, gain a 4% stackable buff. I would change this to a 7% stackable buff instead of 4%, because 4% is like nothing. Forced Penance. Survivors who take protection hits are inflicted with a broken status effect for 80 seconds. I would change that to 90 seconds instead of 80 seconds broken. Just to inflict a little bit more pain. Maybe do it so that the survivor that gets protection hit, so not the one that takes the protection hit, but the one that is being protected, gets healed like 50% slower for like 30 seconds. Franklin's, I would leave unchanged. Shit, boring perk. I don't care about it. Furtive Chase. When you lurk in the shadows, blah blah blah. When your obsession is hooked, Furtive Chase receives a token up to a maximum of 4 tokens. Each token decreases your terror radius by 4 meters while in a chase. And then you become obsessed with a survivor once they rescue the obsession from a hook. I would decrease the terror radius permanently instead of when in chase, so that it would be permanently a lower terror radius. And then we have Game Afoot, a Skull Merchant perk. I would keep this the same. I hate Skull Merchants. Whatever unchanged. Gearhead has been changed. After a survivor loses a health save by any means, Gearhead activates for 30 seconds. While Gearhead is active, every time a survivor performs a good skill check while repairing, their aura is revealed to you for 8 seconds. I would change this so that every time a survivor hits this good skill check, they scream and reveal their location. So they scream and you see their aura for 8 seconds. Just add that they scream as well every time they hit a skill check, for it to have like some sort of effect as well, more than just reading their aura, you know. Oh, this coffee is already cold. Then we have Grim Abrase. Each time a survivor is hooked for the first time, you get a token up to 4 tokens. And once you have 4 tokens, it activates. The entity blocks all generators for 40 seconds, and the obsession's aura is revealed to you for 5 seconds. I would change this so that it reveals all survivor auras for 8 seconds instead of just the obsession's aura. So you see the auras of all survivors for 8 seconds. Then we have a Hangman's Trick. While carrying a survivor, see the aura of any survivor within 6 meters of a hook. Instead, I would change that to 16 meters of any hook. Maybe even like, yeah, 60 meters of any hook. Then we have Hex Blood Favor. I will leave this unchanged. We have Hex Crowd Control. Entity blocks window 20 seconds after survivor. I would say that this also blocks pallets. Make it so that it also blocks pallets. And not only windows. Devour Hope, I would leave unchanged. Face the Darkness, I would leave unchanged. Haunted Ground, I would leave unchanged. And Hunter's Lullaby, instead of it being 5 tokens, I would do it so that it activates with 4 tokens. So currently when you have 5 tokens, you get no skill check warning, and instead I would do it to just 4 tokens. And Noed I would leave unchanged. And then we have a Pentimento. Really interesting perk. I would do it so that exit gate opening, healing, and recovering speed is set to 40%. So it's this perk. It decreases survivor's healing speed, recovery speed, and exit gate opening speed by 30% respectively, and I would change it to 40% instead, so it has more of an impact, because you only use Pentimento for the repair speed, really. Then we have Hex Plaything. I would decrease this to 10 meters, so that you have to be closer to the totem to see it, and I would change decrease it to for the first 90 seconds. Only cursed survivor can cleanse the totem. I would change that to 30 seconds instead of it being 90 seconds, which is a long ass time. Then Retribution. Any survivor interact with a doll totem or hex totem will suffer from the Oblivious status effect. If any hex totem is removed, including this one, the auras of all survivors are revealed for 15 seconds. And I would give the blindness effect as well as the Oblivious status effect. And then we have Hex Ruin. I would remove doll totem effect. Once any survivor is killed by any means, the Hex Ruin totem reverts to doll totem. And I would change that so that that doesn't happen, basically, so it doesn't get reverted into a doll totem if anyone dies. A weird thing that I don't know why it exists. Then we have Third Seal. Hitting a survivor with a basic attack or a special attack while the Hex totem is active, it plays the blindness status effect. And I will do it so that it gives Oblivious status effect when you are further than 16 meters away from the survivors. So basically your tear radius gets decreased to 16 meters. Then we have Thrill of the Hunt, which I would make the effect permanent. For each doll and hex totem remaining on the map, get a token. I don't know what I thought with permanent here. Survivor's cleansing and blessing speed is reduced by 10% for each token. Maybe it's a flat 10%, or it's flat instead of depending on how many totems are left. Or that it isn't a hex perk and instead it's just, you don't, like, it's not a hex perk and it's just a normal like perk that isn't affected by a totem. Then we have Hex Undying and Hoarder. These ones I would leave unchanged. Hoarder, that's a weird perk anyways. I don't know how I would change this. Hubris, I would remove the cooldown. It has a cooldown of 20 seconds. We just remove it altogether. I would remove it altogether, but that's the survivor. If a survivor stuns you, they get exposed for 20 seconds, and then they stun you like maybe 10 seconds after. I would make it so that if they stun you again, their effect doesn't reset of the exposed thing. So Hysteria, whenever a healthy survivor becomes injured by any means, all injured survivors suffer from Oblivious status effect for 30 seconds, and I would change it so that they get blinded as well. They get blindness for the same duration. I'm so tired, I'm sorry. Then we have I'm all ears. I would make the cooldown 25 seconds instead of 40 seconds. Just long cooldowns on a lot of perks. Then we have infectious fright. Any survivors that are within your territory as well, and other survivors put into the dying state will scream and reveal everything. I would make it so that it gives aura rating to anyone within 32 meters for 6 seconds. So anyone that enters 32 meters within you, you see their aura when this perk is activated for 6 seconds. Then Insidious, I would make the effect deplete for 2 seconds after moving. So it's standing still for 2 seconds grants you the undetectable status effect until you move or act again. And instead of that, it gets depleted over 2 seconds, much like how the pig's terror radius works when she crouches and stuff. Then we have Iron Grasp and Iron Maiden. My ear itches so much right now. I don't know why. Sorry. So Iron Grasp. And then we have Iron Maiden and Jolt. I would leave all of these unchanged. Kind of, yeah. Jolt is like map dependent perk, kind of. It's hard to get a good change for this perk, really, because it's kind of map based in a lot of ways. Then we have Knockout. Survivors put into the dying state by your basic attacks are not revealed to other survivors. Survivors put into dying state by your basic attack crawl slower, and the recovery speed is reduced by 25, and they're blinded. Whatever. I would change it so that it will apply with any means of getting downed, because it says that survivors put into the dying state by your basic attacks are not revealed to other survivors, and I would make it not a special thing, or I will make it like effect with special attacks as well. We have Lethal Pursuer. I would leave that one unchanged. Then we have Leverage, another Skull Merchant perk. Each time you hook a survivor, gain a token up to 10. When you hook a survivor, this perk activates for 30 seconds for each token reaches spearless, which survivor sealed by 5%. Sure, I'll leave that unchanged. Lightborn, I'll leave unchanged. Mad Gret, I would leave unchanged. Then we have Make Your Choice. I would make it decrease the cooldown to 30 seconds, and I would give a status effect to survivors so that they can see that they are affected by Make Your Choice, even though you would already know. I don't know why I wrote that down. Whatever, I guess basically just decrease the cooldown to 30 seconds, and other than that, unchanged. Merciless Storm, I would make generators regress during it, but with 25% speed. Yeah, the same with the other blocking perks. Moderate Abuse, in a chase, terror is increased by 8. Outside of chase, decreased by 8. I would make the range 15 meters instead of 8 meters, basically. Then we have Nemesis. I would give aura rating for 10 seconds instead of 4 seconds, which is really low. We have No Way Out, which I would leave unchanged. Then we have Nowhere to Hide. I would leave unchanged. A lot of unchanged perks with the killer perks. That's the thing. A lot of the time with a lot of the killer perks, they are pretty interesting, and you can kind of build whatever you want on most killers. But the perks are usually pretty useless when it comes to survivors. When you don't think about like top 10 most used perks. Like killer perks in general are more like balanced and more fun to use, so there isn't that much to change with a lot of the perks. Then we have Oppression. When you damage a generator, up to 3 other random generators also begin regressing. And I would change it so that it applies to the 3 most progressed gens instead of random generators. And I would make the skill check 100% faster than normal. So it's twice as fast with the skill check that survivors get who are repairing a generator that is being affected by oppression. Overcharge, I would leave unchanged. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Overwhelming presence. I would make it so that anyone within your terror radius, it says item consumption rates are increased by 100%. I would also make it so that the efficiency of the respective items are decreased by 50%. Then we have a play with your food. I would make it so that you only lose a token when you attack someone who isn't your obsession. Because whenever you attack someone, it spends 1 token. I would make so that if you attack someone that isn't the obsession, you lose a token instead. Then we have Park. Park goes to Weasel. I would increase it from 20% to 25%. And I would increase the activation period from 45 seconds to 60 seconds instead. So that you have more time to actually kick a generator. Then we have Predator, a useless perk. Again, scratch marks left by survivors will spawn considerably closer together. I would change it so that when you're within 12 meters of a survivor, it makes the survivor leave scratch marks when walking as well, instead of just when running. Then we have Rancor. I would give it a 5-second aura reveal. Instead, like each time a generator is completed, all survivors' locations are revealed to you for 3 seconds. I would make it 5 seconds, and the same I would make your obsession see your aura for 5 seconds. Then we have Remember Me. Pretty interesting perk. Each time your obsession loses a health state, you increase the opening time of the exit gates by 4 seconds, up to maximum of 16 additional seconds. I would make it affect the obsession as well, so that the obsession actually opens slower as well. Save the best for last. I would leave unchanged. We have Floods of Rage. With a Scourge Hook, you see the auras when the survivor is unhooked. I would increase the aura reading from 7 seconds to 10 seconds. Then we have Gift of Pain. You get hemorrhage and mangled when unhooked from a Scourge Hook. I would give the effect to every injured survivor, instead of just the one being unhooked. When someone is unhooked from this Scourge Hook, every survivor that is injured, including the one getting unhooked, will get the effect. Then we have Monstrous Shrine. I would decrease to 20 meters. If the killer is not within 24 meters, I would change to 20 meters instead. Scourge Hook, I will leave unchanged for now. Then we have a Septic Touch. Whenever a survivor performs the healing action within your terror radius, that a survivor suffers from blindness and exhausted. These effects linger for 10 seconds after a healing action is interrupted by any means. Weird perk. I've never seen this used. I would make it only disappear when they leave terror radius. So instead of lingering after a healing action is interrupted, they will be affected by this until they leave your terror radius, where it will be affected for linger for 10 seconds. Then we have Shadowborn. Remove this perk and add FOV slider. It's very topical right now to add a FOV slider for accessibility options. Personally, I don't understand why FOV has anything to do with accessibility. It's kind of weird. It's not really accessibility option, but I understand why people want it. There's a lot of interesting things you can do with this perk. Then we have Shattered Hope. I would make the range 15 meters instead of 8 meters. When a survivor is within 50 meters, you see the aurora. Sloppy Butcher. I would make it... yeah, I would probably just remove and completely overhaul and rework this perk. It shouldn't really exist in my eyes, since there are a lot of add-ons and other perks that do mangled and hemorrhage. So this one is just too good, I feel like, compared to those. I don't know what you would do with this perk, but I wouldn't want it in the game. We have Spies from the Shadows. And I would make so that a survivor that disturbs a crow will get their aura red for 2 seconds, but I would increase the cooldown from 5 seconds to 10 seconds, and I'll probably make it so that only a survivor that is within like maybe 12 meters of you gets their aura revealed. Something like that. Then we have Spirit Fury. I'd leave that unchanged. Star Strike has a cooldown of 60 seconds. I would remove the cooldown altogether, and I would make the effect persist for maybe 15 seconds instead of 30. Then we have Stridor. Breathing of survivors in pain is 50% louder, and regular breathing is 25% louder. I would make injury noises 60% louder, and regular breathing 30% louder. Probably make like breathing survivors in pain would be 75% louder, and regular breathing 50% louder, actually, now that I think of it. Superior Anatomy. I would increase to 50%. The next time you vault a window, your vaulting speed is increased by 50%. But if you can't stack it with other vaulting perks, which would be Bamboozle. Yeah, basically that I would do. So we have Surveillance. Any regressing generator will be highlighted by a white aura. If the regression is interrupted on a generator, it will be highlighted by a yellow aura for 16 seconds. Noises created by generator repairs are audible at an additional 8 meters. I would make it unchanged. Actually, Terminus I would make unchanged as well, to be honest. And then we have Territorial Imperative. When they enter the basement and you are more than 32 meters away, I would change that. I remove that totally, completely, so that anyone in the basement at all times are shown to you, not only 32 meters away thing. Though I have Thanatophobia, I would increase it to 3%, a 3% penalty instead of 2% penalty for a maximum of 15% when everyone is injured. Thrilling Tremors, I would remove the cooldown. Completely, and I would also make it affect every generator within 32 meters instead of all generators not being repaired. So every generator within 32 meters get blocked. Maybe a little bit longer range than that, maybe 40 meters or something. Thwack, I don't know, leave it the same. The Tanker I would leave unchanged as well. Trail of Torment, I would change the cooldown from 60 seconds to 30 seconds. This shouldn't realistically even have a cooldown, to be honest. We have Unnerving Presence. Survivors when you terrorists have a 10% greater chance of triggering skill checks. Triggering skill checks, success ones are reduced by 60%. I would leave that unchanged. Unrelenting, I would make it 50%. The cooldown after missed basic attacks is reduced by 30%. I would make it 50%. Whispers, sporadically hear the entity's whispers when standing within that 32 meter range of survivor. I would change it to 16 meters, so that it's more precise. Then we have Zanjin Tactics. The last perk. How long have I been recording for? 38 minutes. That's not that bad. This is a lot shorter. Not a lot shorter, but this is shorter than the last one. I can't believe I've sit for 40. It doesn't feel at all like I've been here for this long. And I've just like uninterruptedly talked and kind of speedrun talked as well. Okay. The auras of all pallets, breakable walls, and vault locations are revealed to you within a 32 meter range. I would make it so that a survivor uses a window or a pallet in a chase will get blinded for 5 seconds, and it will have a 5-second cooldown. So this one basically counters windows of opportunity. That's probably a change that I would add to that. Okay, I have now gone through with beautiful Demogorgon and beautiful Steve Harrington all the changes I would bring to the game to make it more interesting. And not only make it more interesting, but also make it just make it a little bit more balanced, not in a sense of everything being like balanced and like not overpowered, but instead being making it more chaotic, where basically everything is unbalanced in a way, which kind of creates a balance. But just trying to bring up the really bad perks and try to make them viable in some ways, even though that it might be like broken and destructive in some ways. The main point of it is just to like try to show that it is possible to do like big changes, like crazy changes to stuff, and it's like being positive for the game and not just being destructive and like, oh, we can't do these changes to these perks because that would then make them overpowered, and that a good way to balance the game is to overhaul everything at once and try doing that. And also just like creating a bit of a discussion, but also encouraging people to also think like this. Make people appreciate the bad perks and try to, instead of see them as bad perks, try to make them more interesting, usable, and balanced, and whichever way suitable, and just for people to find out interesting and creative ways to actually change this game, instead of it being like a super precise, surgical, super thought out thing to do, and instead try to maybe go a little bit crazy with it sometimes. Um, I hope you enjoy this way too long video, and that you enjoyed the way too long other video as well. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it. Um, do I have anything else I want to say? Probably not. I don't think I will do any videos like this in the future with the same topic. Maybe, maybe not. Most likely, you will see me talk about stuff like this in my streams. When I randomly start talking about perks and stuff that I would change with perks. So head on over and give me a little cheeky follow at twitch.tv/imbappus, also found in the description. And in the description you will find my TikTok channel where I upload clips from my streams that you also can find under the shorts section of my YouTube channel. And you can also find my Twitter and my beautiful Discord server that you should join, because I have a beautiful Discord community with amazing people, and I love to have just as many people as possible in my Discord server, because I love just like randomly talking to people where I might discuss this stuff further. And you can join the server and try to like join the discussion as well. But don't forget to also just comment things that you thought maybe was interesting, more interesting than other things. Maybe something you agree with, disagree with, and maybe something you could add to the things that I would leave unchanged, or just any interesting changes you would do to the game and to perks. I might do something in the future that is the same thing, but instead with like killer abilities and stuff like that. But I'll see. Thank you for watching this video anyways, and thank you for watching this far. Do I have any beautiful more closing words that I want to add? I just feel like sitting here and talking forever and ever. I can go on so long rants and uninterruptedly talking just because I enjoy doing it. And when I do that, I don't think about anything else going on, any of the shit going on in my life. So it's kind of a nice break. Do I have any closing thoughts? I love Demogorgon. Demogorgon is very cute. Everyone should love Demogorgon. If you don't love Demogorgon, then you actually don't love life. And as always, I hope I will see you in the future on this Otstarva channel. My name is Otstarva, and I am out.